Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I can see lots of people entering the room, which is absolutely great. I can see I've got on my glasses there. Does anybody remember years ago, there used to be, and I'm talking sort of the 60s and 70s, there used to be a children's program called something on the Mysterons, Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. And they used to have a circle of light. When the circle of light appeared, that was a Mysteron. Just a little bit of information for you there. I can tell you how the things I used to watch when I was little. It's just my light circle, that's all. There we go, let's move it around a little bit. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Here in Wiltshire in the UK, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and it's a bit overcast. We've had a very rainy, overcast, damp week. Doesn't look like it's going to change very much today. So hopefully many of you are having a great day. I'm going to be sharing my screen for you in a second, so just bear with me while I sort out the technology. You should. Why is that not working that way? Slideshow. There we go. There we are. I knew it would work eventually. It's always a case of getting the technology to go to the best way that you want it, isn't it? So, good morning to all of you, wherever you are, whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, or here in the UK. I know we do have some people that are participating here in the UK that have got up extra early in the morning just to be with us today, which is absolutely fantastic. So very good welcome to you all. And I hope you enjoy this next 45 minutes, hour or so with myself and Rebecca. We are planned an absolute full-on session of training. So today we're going to be talking about mind over menopause, how you can use hypnosis to help those clients of yours that are going through the change, the menopause, the midlife crisis. I was trying to think of the other word that's not used very often now. It used to be used a lot. All those things, because it's not just ladies, it's men that experience the change. Not as drastically as ladies do, but they still experience their version of the change, or in their way, the change. Not all men need help with that because their symptoms are generally speaking not as severe as ladies, which is why women are more prominent with menopause, because our symptoms are quite drastic, or can be quite drastic in a lot of cases. So this webinar is about how you can help those ladies in particular to manage their symptoms better, to improve their symptoms. And in a lot of cases, they actually reduce their hot flushes down to virtually nothing or nothing. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So just for turning up today and for registering, I thought I would send you, excuse me, I thought I would send you a bonus gift of 6 keys to success. It's a document I put together a while ago to help you with the business side of things, and to use different things, ideas, different tools, different mindset to help you with your business. So I will be emailing that out to you either later on today or tomorrow with the replay. So when you get the replay email, probably tomorrow, there will be the link on it for the replay and the link on it for this as well. So there'll be quite a lot on that email. You can follow me on Facebook, Helen Breward, or Pebbles Hypnotherapy. You can join my Positive Hypnosis group, which is a support group for therapists like yourself, where I do a weekly live where we talk about a different aspect of something to do with our business or helping our clients. It's a very supportive group where everybody helps each other out. You know, you can ask advice in there. You can please share your absolute wins with us. You know, what's been great about the week. We don't want to hear just about your problems. We want to hear about your wins as well. You can follow me on Twitter, at Helen Broad or Helen Broad Hypno, Pebbles Hypnotherapy. That's what it comes up as on the page. You can also follow me on LinkedIn. So just search Helen Broad and I should come up. So what I'll be sharing with you today is information on the menopause, basic information. We'll be talking a little about estrogen and progesterone, some of the symptoms of the menopause that are quite common for most people, or most ladies I should say. Some of the common triggers, because there are a lot of common triggers with the menopause that actually set off hot flushes, because we'll be focusing on the hot flushes aspect today. And I'll be showing you how hypnosis can help your menopausal clients. Towards the end, we'll be doing a little bit of hypnosis. So if you're with us then, please make sure, if you want to join in, that you are comfortable where you are and you're in a safe place to listen to some hypnosis. So a little bit about me. I am a former primary school teacher. That means I used to teach children from the age of 5 all the way up to about 11. Before they went to, now I think somebody said to me the other week, it's probably middle school where you are. Here in the UK, it's secondary school. And it's that age from 11 to 16, and then they go on to further education until they're 18 here in the UK now. So I used to teach all of those age ranges, actually, to be honest. I did a lot with year 1, year 3, year 4. I also did an awful lot with year 6 as well. I forgot about that. I did actually become known as a year 6 teacher in the end. Very, very challenging when they get to year 6. Interesting and fun, but quite challenging. So I also decided to become a full-time hypnotherapist in 2015. I became a therapist back in 2011, and I was working part-time between hypnotherapy and a primary school and teaching. So I was juggling the two for quite a while, and it was back in 2014 I made the decision. I gave myself a year to build my business up enough to be able to leave the teaching and just focus on full-time hypnosis and helping others, which I did. That's the picture you see on the screen is the clinic that I work from in the very old part of our town. Well, they like to call it a city. It's not a city, it doesn't have city status, and that's quite a big thing here. It is actually a very big town in Swindon, and it's a really old, quirky building. There's no floors are level, no ceilings are dead straight and flat. There's sort of ups and downs, and it's very quirky, very, very quirky. Typical old English, and if you know what old English looks like or means, then you'll understand what I mean. It is a lovely building. Unfortunately, I haven't been in there since the beginning of March because of the whole coronavirus thing. As soon as I came back from Australia, from the conference in Australia in March, we went into lockdown, so I haven't been in there since before I left. We are due to go back actually next week, Monday. We're due to reopen the centre in a different way to what we were used to using it before, so that's going to be a bit of a learning curve. I've had to move rooms because the room I have is very small, so I've had to move rooms to a much bigger room and sort a lot of issues out, so hopefully that will work out very well. So going back to the menopause then. Now, I wrote this program the very end of 2014. Beginning of 2015, I did some research myself. I had a test group to see if actually what I wanted to do, which all I initially wanted to be able to do was to help ladies turn down the heat of hot flush. That was my sole intention. And I discovered that there was Professor Gary Elkins of the Baylor University in America had also done a clinical trial on exactly that thing, using hypnosis to control those menopausal hot flushes or to improve them. And he found that they did 4 sessions, and by the 4th session, those hot flushes, or flashes as they call them, had decreased by about 70%. And then when they followed up again 3 months later, they had decreased again by a further 10% to 80% decrease in experiences of those hot flushes. And some ladies of the group that they were working with were able to eliminate their hot flushes altogether, which is great, or nearly eliminate them. And the study that I did myself had very, very similar results. In fact, my results were a little higher, but what you need to understand is when they did their results, when the Baylor University did their study, they used just relaxation hypnosis. They didn't do any kind of clinical interventions, and that's the difference between their study and the study that I did. I involved clinical interventions in with the hypnosis, and our results were 85–90% of ladies were able to reduce their hot flushes, and in quite a lot of cases they were able to eliminate some of them. There were some cases where they were able to eliminate all of them. So absolutely fantastic results, absolutely blew my mind away, because if you remember, all I actually wanted to do was to help ladies to turn down that heat, so that they could cope with the hot flush. It wasn't so hot. And I actually discovered that what was happening was the ladies were able to reduce the amount of hot flushes they were having. They were able to eliminate some of them, which was great, absolutely great. So back to basics then. What is the menopause? The menopause is that age when ladies cease to be fertile, when they can't have children anymore. And the average age of that is 51. Now, you will rarely come across a lady who gets to 51 and suddenly they go into menopause. There is usually quite a few beforehand, in fact, probably beforehand, and quite a lot after that as well. So it is just an average age that the medical profession have worked out. Now, every lady will experience this completely differently, and that's okay, that's fine. It's that different language that we need to learn from each client so that we can use in our marketing. So if we're going to focus in this area of work with our clients, our ladies, then we need to know the language, how they describe it, to help them in their hypnosis, in their sessions with you, so you can feed back their particular language, but also so that you can use that same language in your own marketing to market these services. So some of the common descriptions that I hear are feels like a volcano exploding or erupting from the inside. Some ladies say it feels like a tropical moment, which sounds quite nice. That doesn't sound as bad as the volcano. If somebody tells you it's a volcano, it feels like a volcano, I would say that they're probably experiencing quite severe symptoms. If somebody describes it as a tropical moment, then it's not so severe. But what you do need to think about doing is, if they describe it as a volcano, you need to kind of start to change that perception to a lesser degree. So we then begin to talk about things being a little bit warmer than we'd like, because you're reducing the impact. If you notice what I've just said, the impact of saying it feels like a volcano erupting versus a tropical moment, the difference is quite a lot. It feels massive to me, just saying it to you. I can't, what some of the other ones that people have said, I feel like I'm glowing from the inside. Now, here in the UK, we have radiators. Our heating system tends to be radiators, or storage heaters is another one. And it's sort of like I was going to say a box on the wall, but that is not right. There used to be, and there is a link, there used to be an advert here in the winter for like a porridge breakfast cereal called Ready Break. And the old advert used to show a little boy walking down the street with like a glow, like an aura glowing around him. And for some ladies, that's kind of what it feels like. If you go to a radiator, you have like a warm glow. It doesn't actually glow, but you feel the warmth around it, almost like a bit of a glow. So when they say, oh, it feels like I'm glowing on the inside, that's how I personally imagine it. But that's about the best description I can come if you've not experienced that yourself. Some ladies also feel that, you know, along with the volcano, they get drenched with sweat as well. It's like a river of sweat for some ladies. Others, it's just a little perspiration. Everybody is different, and every symptom is different for everyone. Some of the common symptoms that you come across are obviously the hot flushes and the night sweats, which is what we're focusing on with today, because that is that's the most common symptom you're going to come across, and arguably is the most disruptive because it affects the sleep, which then affects moods, irritability, can lead to anxiety, depression, all those other symptoms that follow in with the menopause that are quite common. You can have, as you lead into the menopause, there's the monthly periods can be stop, start, or reduced or affected in some way. Now, when you get into the menopause, they stop altogether. So there are none at all. So those are some of the common symptoms. There are a lot more symptoms. I think at my last count, there was 36, 37 different symptoms. I haven't done any research on that for a while, so I'd have to check it again. There's probably more by now. So, but those are the common ones that you're likely to come across. Those hot flushes, those night sweats, that irritability, those mood swings, maybe anxiety, depression, those kinds of symptoms. Obviously, the periods are going to be affected, and that's one of the main signs that you may be going into the menopause or the perimenopause, which is kind of like the run into or the slowdown as you go into menopause. So we also look at the two main stress hormones, and that is estrogen and progesterone. Now, we're not forgetting about testosterone, but we are focusing mainly on estrogen and progesterone with the ladies, because those are the two that most affect how the ladies are and the menopause. So the estrogen, if you notice on the screen, if you notice with the columns on the screen, estrogen and progesterone balance each other out. It's a bit like yin and yang. So estrogen helps to build the lining of the womb or the uterus, and progesterone maintains that lining. Estrogen also increases the body fat. It's the way the body converts the food that you eat into fat and energy to be used, and that's done by progesterone, or is helped by progesterone. This is one of the most interesting facts, I think, and you'll understand why in a second. Estrogen can also, if somebody's having a lot of headaches, migraines, depression, it could be because their estrogen is low. It might not be, but it could be. Now, if you look at progesterone, progesterone acts as an antidepressant, is our antidepressant. So if our progesterone levels are low, then our natural antidepressant may not be as effective as it should be or could be. So if somebody is having a low mood, if their moods are low and they're having mood swings, it could be because of the progesterone, low progesterone. That also will help with the depression and possibly migraine headaches too, if that's what's affecting it. If you look at the libido, the sex drive, estrogen reduces that, progesterone restores it, and so does testosterone. So, you know, there is, and this is always a bit of a bone of contention when we get into menopause because of the HRT. Now, estrogen increases the risk of some of the female cancers, or is known to, which is one of the reasons why ladies don't always like to take HRT, because there is generally acknowledged, I would say at the moment, because that changes with research, more research comes out to defute the last piece of research that says, you know, if you take certain HRT medication, you will get, there was a piece of research a while ago, earlier on this year, that actually stated that I think it was 1 in 5 ladies will get, I think it was breast cancer actually, some form of female cancer, if they take this particular kind of medication, HRT medication. But you did have to read that report carefully to pick it out. But I'm equally sure there'll be another piece of research very soon to say that that is not true, that the increase is nowhere, you know, the possibility of developing cancer is not as great as what that piece of research was saying. But progesterone helps the body to protect against some of the female cancers. So you can see how they balance each other out. So when we go through menopause, the levels change and drop. So we need to provide our body with the nutrients that they need to make the hormones that we need to be able to keep ourselves on an even keel. So for general menopause symptoms, these are some of the nutrients that the body needs that are good for us to keep us on that even keel. Vitamin C, the B vitamins and omega-3 are good for general menopause symptoms. To help the body produce progesterone, we need things like B6, zinc, magnesium. There are a lot of other minerals and nutrients that the body needs, but I'm not really going to give you a whole long list because it is quite a long list. Those are the 3 good ones for each type. And to be fair, they're good, they intermesh, they're good across the board. So to get those vitamins, vitamin C, sunflower seeds are reportedly good for hot flushes. 3 good nuts and seeds to eat are almonds, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. They are packed full of nutrients and are quite good. Again, you don't really want me to give you a whole long list today of different foods and things, because that is a very long list. But generally speaking, those are 3 good nuts and seeds to eat that will pack your body full of good wholesome nutrients that the body needs to produce those hormones. So let's look at some common, oh, hang on, what happened there? Let's look at some common triggers then, 5 common triggers, because hot flushes and night sweats quite often have a common trigger. Now, a lot of ladies will tell you that no, they don't have any triggers at all, they are just happening. And this is part of the mental mindset with ladies that you're likely to see, is that they believe that the menopause is being done to them rather than they can take control of it and they can do something about it. So a lot of the hot flushes and the night sweats will have triggers, and these are 5 of the common triggers. There are more, there are other triggers, but these are 5 common ones. Stress is probably the main one, if not the biggest one, I would say, of hot flushes and night sweats. It's not called a hormone stealer for nothing, because it kind of goes along these lines. A lot of the nutrients that the body needs to make progesterone is also used, the body also uses to make cortisol, the main stress hormone. Cortisol, the main stress hormone, out-trumps everything, because if you think about stress in basic terms, it comes down to fight or flight, survival of the species. Because stress is generally about pressure of a situation. That generally translates in the body to survival mode, as in fight or flight, survival of the species. So that becomes the main thing. So the body will divert resources away from everything else to make that cortisol the main stress hormone. If your body then either doesn't have any resources left to make progesterone, or a very small amount, the amount that your body is going to be able to make is going to be reduced. So therefore, your progesterone levels, the more stressed you are, the lower your progesterone levels will go. Or generally speaking, your hormone levels will be a lot lower. But if you think about what we were talking about earlier, about the way progesterone helps the body with antidepressant in particular, and low sex drive, libido, all that kind of, those kinds of things, then you can understand why when you're feeling stressed, that your sex drive may go out the window, that you feel your mood feels lower, you may be having a little bit of anxiety, maybe a bit of depression creeping in. And that is partly because of the progesterone is lower, so your ability or natural ability to cope with those situations is not so great as it probably was before. So if we can reduce those stress levels, if we can help people with the stress levels, then that again will help with their symptoms that they're feeling. Rushing around is another one, and it is an actual thing. Rushing around too much, and I mean literally rushing, as in walking very quickly, diving here, there and everywhere. That again will be a massive trigger for hot flushes. That quite often comes down to poor diary control. So it is about sitting with your diary in some cases, and I've done this in my clinic with ladies, for not just for menopause symptoms, but for things like weight loss, stress management. I've actually sat down with them and we've gone through, worked out how they can organize their diary in a better way, because those are the people that I found before, their diary can be very all over the place and unorganized. If you organize your diary, it helps people to see and slow down, and it helps them enormously to be able to organize themselves. Once they can do that, the rushing around can slow down and stop. But one of the other places is the next time you go to a supermarket, well, not so much at the moment in England because it's a bit different here. I can imagine it is probably in other places too. But normally speaking, if you're in a supermarket, just stand still for a second and just look around at all the women in particular that have got a trolley, and they are literally running around with the trolley, grabbing things off the shelf, throwing them in and rushing to get to the till to get out because they've got the next big thing to do, and they've got so much to do that they're rushing, and then you see them go beetroot red because it's brought on a hot flush. So all we're asking them to do is just to slow down a little bit. It doesn't have to be massive amounts, just to slow down a little bit and take the pace just a little bit slower. Alcohol is another big one. Alcohol is quite a massive, or can be for some people, trigger for hot flushes. Especially red wine seems to be quite a big one. I know somebody said to me a while ago that they discovered that it seemed to be the grape-based, or for them it seemed to be the grape-based drinks that were causing a lot of the problems. Babycham, there's a little story behind that. There's a client I had, it was quite a few years ago, a couple of years back now, and I kept saying she had a really bad night sweats. She was having a really bad night sweat, and we'd got all the ones that during the day under control. We've got quite a few of the other night sweats, because when she originally came, she was having quite a lot of night sweats, and we got those under control. But there was one in particular that just wouldn't go away. And I kept saying to her, we'd reduced her stress levels, we'd done lots of work on different areas, taught her lots of different tools and techniques, but this one just would not shift. It was not quite so hot, but it wouldn't shift. So I kept saying to her, on every session, I kept saying to her, are you sure you are not drinking any alcohol? And she said, no, I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm not drinking alcohol. So you're absolutely sure? And she said, no. Then one day she came in for this session, and she just looked at me and she went, oh my God. What's going on? What's happened? What's going on? And it turns out she'd been in the supermarket and she was in the alcohol section, and she was just reaching up to grab a box of Babycham. Now, Babycham is a very old-fashioned drink. I didn't even know they still made it. My grandma used to drink that back in the 70s. And it's a little bottle like that, and it's kind of, my best description is
It's sort of like a wine. I have a feeling somebody said to me it was like a pear wine with kind of like lemonade. It's a bit like I'd call it like a wine spritzer kind of a thing. And it was quite weak. There wasn't huge amounts to it. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, she hadn't recognized that this was actually alcohol, and she'd been drinking one of these quite frequently. When she realized that it actually had an alcoholic content, she stopped drinking it for a night or two and realized that that hot flush that night sweat that she was having a lot of problems with suddenly disappeared because she'd stopped having the baby sham. So, you know, it can be even the most seemingly innocent of alcoholic drinks can be causing the problem. So, yeah, be aware of the alcohol. Two hot things together, like a hot drink and a hot meal, can cause hot sweats. That for me, when I was first going through the menopause, that was one of my triggers, was a hot drink with a hot dinner, my evening meal. Could almost guarantee within 5 minutes of finishing my dinner, I would have a hot flush. As soon as I realised that, I moved my drink to after I'd finished my dinner. Once I did that, it stopped straight away. Yeah, so that can be another one. So something like a hot cup of coffee while you're drying your hair, or straight after a shower would be another one. So those two hot things together, just be aware of that and move those two hot things apart. Have a cold drink if you're having a hot meal, if that's a trigger for you or your client. Tiredness as well can be another trigger. Now, sometimes you may notice yourself, whether you're menopausal or not, if you're overtired, you may find that you're starting to get a little bit hotter, a little bit warmer. So really then, that is your body saying to you, you need to go to bed, you need to go to sleep. So my message to you would actually be to make sure that you get good sleep. So make sure that you go to bed at a reasonable time. Depending on your point of view, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning for me is not really a reasonable time, but we are all very different. But just make sure that you or your client is getting enough rest, enough sleep. So I'm going to share this lady with you. Now, this is Alison. She was an absolute superstar. She was one of the ladies on my trial. She was probably the most extreme case that I had to work with, and her hot flushes and night sweats were absolutely horrendous. She was having up to 6 night sweats every night, and they would be on the scale of have to get up out of bed, literally dripping wet with sweat, has to get in the shower and have a shower, change the bedclothes, change the bedding, you know, change her own night clothes. That would happen. I don't think it happened every night, but it happened frequently, let's put it that way. But as she said, she always classes them like she wanted to claw her own skin off. They were that bad. So she has actually done a nice little video here for us. I'm going to play that for you now.
Hi, I'm making a video diary regarding my hypnotherapy with Helen Brouard. So we're on week 1. I'm having hot flushes during the day, probably 10 to 15, pretty high intensity, strawberry pink, feel as though I could claw my skin off. And also night sweats, waking me up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a night, so I'm properly tired. So I've gone to Helen in absolute desperation. She's given me a CD to play every night, as well as having a hypnotherapy session with her. And also we're looking at triggers, what sets off the hot flushes and the night sweats. So I have high hopes. We're going to give it a couple of weeks, and then I'm going to go back for a second session. So here's hoping.
Now, Alison was a really good client. She very kindly said, look, I'll make some videos for you, because she was so into what we were doing, into trying to help lots of other ladies, because at the time when she came in, this was a test to see if it would work, because when I originally started it, I actually did not know whether you could use hypnosis to help clients with those hot flushes and those night sweats. I just thought it should be possible because we can control pain with hypnosis. My immediate thought was, well, we can control hot flushes then if we can do that. Alison was really an absolute star. She did this little video, and then she did another one for me later, which I'm going to show you in a minute, because this was her idea to do some little videos, because at the time I said to her, look, I'm off to Canada to speak at the Canadian Hypnosis Conference about using hypnosis to help those ladies. And her attitude all the way along the line was, let me help you so we can help so many other ladies in as far as possible to improve their menopause, their symptoms, their hot flushes, their night sweats. And, you know, between the two of us, we have done an absolute fantastic job so far of helping ladies across the globe to be able to reduce those night sweats, those hot flushes, and to improve their life, their menopause, their symptoms. And by training you therapists as well, that also helps us, or helps me, to help even more ladies, because there's only me, you know, there's only so much I can do on my own, which is why I'm really interested, really focusing on training other therapists to help those ladies with those symptoms as well. And you can see what a massive difference this is making. If you look at Alison now, this was the second one she did for me. It was nice when I got this over an email or Dropbox, I can't remember now. She sent this to me, went, look, I've done you a second one, and this is me now.
Oh, it's about week 6. I've been working with Helen for about 6 weeks now. I have to say that my hot flushes are reduced in intensity and also reduced in number. So I'm now down to about only 2 or 3 a day. We've really clearly worked out what the triggers are, whether I get anxious, stressed out. So I've had to thin my diary out, so I'm not rushing around to appointments. That's made a huge difference. And the night sweats are much better. So I'm not waking up as much during the night, maybe once or twice, and the intensity is much less. So this has been part of a whole holistic approach that has certainly made a huge difference to my life, and I recommend that anybody else should try it, because it gets to the point where you really just want to rip your skin off, and I got to that point, and I didn't hold out any hope of fixing it, and Helen was very much part of helping me manage those symptoms, and long may it continue.
So you'll notice from what Alison's just said that some of the things that we talked about earlier, the common triggers, were all the things that she was doing. She said that she'd noticed that her diary was too full, so she thinned her diary out. She was managing her stress levels. She was rushing around, all those common triggers that we were talking about. One thing she didn't mention that I do know is that alcohol was one of the big triggers for those night sweats. Now, Alison used to like a glass of red wine in the evening, and that was proved to be one of those big triggers. I did say to her, when I originally went through some of the triggers with her on the first session, I did say to her, are you drinking any alcohol? And she did sort of say, well, yes, I like a glass of red wine. I said, to tell you what, red wine is often a trigger for hot flushes. So why don't you just leave that red wine off for tonight and see if it makes a difference, see if it's one of your triggers? And she kept saying, no, it won't be a trigger, it won't be a trigger. And then when I saw her again on the next session, she just looked at me and went, oh. So I said, oh dear, what's the matter? And she said, you were right, red wine is a trigger. So what she then proceeded to do, which a lot of other people have done, and I think it's great actually, to be honest, instead of feeling, oh, I can't have alcohol, I can't be deprived, because that brings in that deprivation thing, she then went on and tried a lot of other different types of alcohol to see which one that she could enjoy when she wanted to have an alcoholic drink. Last time I saw her, she was on gin, and I think gin does seem to be a fairly popular one that seems to be okay for a lot of ladies. But that was how she got around the red wine. She was quite devastated. Actually, it's like, oh my God. But you know, it worked really well for her. So be aware that alcohol again is a trigger. So listening to what she's just said, you can see all the major triggers that we were just talking about. The only one she didn't mention was 2 hot things together. She had every single one of those and others as well. So that's how we've helped her. One of the other things that Alison runs her own business as well, and she was also doing a lot of, well, she also does a lot of meetings in her business with a lot of other business people, and her symptoms were massively impacting her business as well. So by helping her deal with her symptoms better, manage those symptoms, she was also able to improve her work with her business. So her business life improved as well, and so did her business at the same time. So working with ladies in this area has a massive impact on them and their lives. You know, 50 is not old. 50 is still young. You know, women still have a lot left to give, to do, to be. It's a great time, because it's a time when ladies can come into their own. You know, quite often if they've had children, they've grown up, so now it's time for them to focus on themselves rather than on bringing the children up and the family's needs. They can focus more on themselves again. It's kind of like it's their time to shine again. So what we need to do is to help them manage their symptoms, so that they can be who they are now, in the way they want to be now, and do everything that they want to do, so they feel empowered. And it's massively rewarding work to help ladies in this way. So if you would like to take part in the training, if you would like to start helping ladies with their menopause symptoms, I'm running a 2-day course. In fact, actually, it's 2 one-day courses back to back. So the Menopause Relief Core Program is a 1-day training course, and that's the basic course, which is why it's called the Core, where we focus on just helping those ladies control those hot flushes and those night sweats. The whole day is about learning the basics of menopause and how we can help those ladies. You have a training manual with a lot of background information on the common triggers, the quick fixes, the vitamins and minerals, hormone balance. We talk a lot about those. There's scripts for 6 sessions. So you have 6 scripts for that. In fact, actually, I think there's 7 now. I need to count them up. I'm pretty sure I'll put an extra one in. There's at least 6 scripts in the whole pack for you to use with those clients that cover a variety of different triggers or scenarios that will help with those hot flushes. We also cover, which I mentioned at the beginning, we also cover the andropause now. So this training now brings in those male symptoms that men are starting to acknowledge that they are experiencing and may want help with. Now, they will probably not come to you and say, can you help me with the andropause? They are more likely to say, I am feeling a bit, I'm going through a few issues at the moment. What they'll actually mean when you listen to their symptoms, which can be quite similar to ladies, is that they're actually going through that change of life. They used to call it, years ago, they used to call it a midlife crisis. So there's a focus section on the male menopause, the andropause, that's the technical term for it, and their symptoms and what you can do about that. There's 5 scripts for that as well, to help with those common issues that men quite often deal with. That you have assessment sheets, there's press releases that I had done when I first launched all this back in 2015 and 16. You also have a Q&A session, there's a video guide, and there's a Facebook support group. So if this is the kind of work that you feel, yes, I really want to do this, I really want to know how to help ladies with this particular issue of the menopause, the hot flushes, then this training day would be absolutely spot on for you. The program that I run is internationally recognized across the globe, with lots and lots of ladies being helped currently. That training is on the 25th of July. It is starting at 5 o'clock in the morning UK time, which works out to be around 12 noon Western Australia time. That is to help those therapists like yourself in Australia and New Zealand who want to take part, to have a more reasonable time, because normally when I do this, it's usually UK time, and therapists in Australia, New Zealand are quite often up until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning training. So this time I thought I would move it a little bit for them so that it's a more reasonable time for them. If you want to do the training but you're not available on that date, that's absolutely fine. It will be recorded, so you can have the replays so you can catch up at your own time. If you choose to do that, that's absolutely fine. Once you've done the training, you need to just let me know, and then I'll arrange a one-to-one call with you so that we can have a good chat about some of the questions that you might have. So that whole package is 245 Australian dollars. If you are here in the UK and you want to do the training, then just let me know and I will give you a UK price. If you also like the sound of that, or you've also already done the core program and you want to move on and do the advanced menopause relief, which is the second day's training, which is on the Sunday, the 26th of July. This is where we cover other symptoms, other areas of the menopause. Again, you have a comprehensive training manual, and we cover other issues like weight gain, those mood swings, sleep, low libido. We cover the more intimate areas, the problems that happen quite often with the vagina, or those issues that kind of impact on life. You also have 7 scripts plus 3 suggestions. Now, what I mean by suggestions is it's a chunk that's not a full script in itself, but it gives you a good basis, a good idea of a bit of an intervention to use on another session. You will just need to pad it out a little bit more or maybe add a few more things into that. We'll be doing some demonstration work, the same as we will do on the core one. There's always time on the live training, there's always time to do some practical work where you will be working with one of the other therapists on the call. Even online, we'll be doing that in breakout rooms, and you'll be able to do that. That'll be really cool, and it always works really, really well. There'll be some marketing on how to market your I don't know why that's appeared there, on how to market your services, your new service, your new business. We'll be working a little bit on that, and how to deal with those initial inquiries. Now, both of those training days if you buy them individually, are $245. They also have 5 CPD points accredited by the Australian Hypnosis Association. So if you belong to them or one of their associated groups, then you can claim 5 CPD points for each day. So if you do both days, you can claim 10 AHA CPD points for the training. So that's really cool. If you want to do both days, that's $350 for both days. So it's a massive saving if you decide that you want to do both days. If you decide you just want to do the core, that's absolutely fine. There is always going to be the opportunity, if you want further down the road to do the advanced, there's always going to be that opportunity to be able to do that extra training if you choose to. You also have certificates as well. I will post you out certificates of training too, or email them to you so that you have proof that you've done that training. It's always nice to have a certificate because sometimes our clients like to see that, and it's always good for your CPD points as well. So that's on the 25th and the 26th of July. If you want to take part in that training, if you're sort of thinking what you're liking is really interesting and really good, and you'd like to be able to help those ladies, then what we do on those training days is to cover everything in much more detail than what we've done today. And also there's a lot of other stuff that goes on in the training. There's the practice as well, and all the practical stuff. Like I say, there's a lot of discussion that goes on. We talk about different clients, different symptoms, and all the other stuff that goes in with it. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, Rebecca is going to put some links in the chat box for you where you can click on the link and it will take you straight to the payment page where you can pay for your training if you've decided that you would like to do that now. That will be available up until just before the training, I think. But do book your seat now as soon as you possibly can, because that will be really great to be able to do that. So I just love it when technology stops working for me. Oh, there we go. Oh, as I've just mentioned, the courses has 5 CPD points to claim. Both of the courses, the core and the advanced, have 5 CPD points accredited them. If you combine them together, that makes 10. The other course that I also run as well is the Grief and Loss Moving On course, that also has 5 CPD points accredited by the Australian Hypnosis Association. That may be quite prevalent at the moment, with there being a lot of grief and a lot of loss across the world, really. So if you're interested in that, just drop me a note and I will send you some information on that one too. No, hang on. So let's have some fun. Let's do some hypnosis now. This is how we actually practically help our clients with hypnosis. You use all the other things that we've talked about come before we actually do the hypnosis, because this is very much a holistic approach. It's not just focused completely on hypnosis and nothing else. This is very holistic, because if you know certain things help certain conditions, then why wouldn't you tell your client? Why wouldn't you say, in my experience, I've found that this helps? It's like if you have somebody in for stress and you discover they are drinking 15 cups of coffee a day, one of the things that I'd like to think that you're probably going to say to them is, it would be a really good idea if you could cut your coffee intake down, maybe swap 1 or 2 for something else, because we know that coffee will stimulate and irritate those stress responses and make it worse. So when we do hypnosis with clients, we talk about coolness. So it's simple things like breathing in that lovely cool air through your nostrils, those kinds of things. Letting out that unwanted warmth. There's that terminology change from heat to warmth. You might want to say heat first and then reduce it down as you repeat it into warmth. So what I want you to do right now, what I'd like you to do, if you want to take part in this part of it, the relaxation part, make sure that you are in a safe place. Make sure that you're not going to be disturbed, and you can just sit back, as we tell our clients to, and just breathe. Okay? So all I want you to do right now, what I'd like you to do, is to sit back and get yourself nice and comfortable, just ready to relax. And I want you to take in a big, cool, deep breath through your nostrils. And then let out any extra warmth, any tensions. That's it. And then take in another big, deep breath through your nostrils. Lovely and cool. Feel that nice, cool air around your body. And then breathe out any stresses. And this time when you breathe in, I want you to breathe in that lovely, cool, calming air. So breathe in calm. And breathe out any worries or tensions. That's it. And you can feel yourself just drifting down and down into that lovely, cool place. You can feel those tensions, those stresses just leaving your body now. As you feel lovely and cool, you breathe out any unwanted warmth, any extra heat that you don't want or need. You can just breathe them out now. And I want you to remember a time, maybe when you were standing on a lovely beach. It's the end of the day and the temperature's just cooling down. You've got that wonderful sunset in front of you. All those colours, those reds, those oranges, those yellows, those pinks, that beautiful blue sky that's changing to a glorious bluey, yellowy sky. Beautiful. You can see that big orb of the sun as the glow changes and just drifts down, and seeing how fantastic it feels, how wonderful it feels, how cool it feels. That's it. Nice and nice. And as you're standing on the shoreline, you can just feel that lovely cool water just curling around your toes as it washes up and back, up and down. You can feel all those tensions from the day, those worries, those stresses just leave your body as you focus on that lovely cool water around your toes and that wonderful sunset display in front of you. You might even want to sit down. You still feel that lovely cool water just around your feet. And all those worries, those things that maybe have been bugging you, just melt away as you feel that deep sense of peace and calm, as you just look at all those beautiful colours. And as you look at those wonderful colours, you feel yourself cooling right down. You feel a sense of well-being. You feel like you're a sponge soaking up all that well-being, all that calmness and peace, and storing it inside. And all those things before that may have bothered you before or got in your way, distractions, all melted away. Because as you take in all that peace and that calm, that tranquility, that coolness, there's no room left for all those worries, those tensions, that extra warmth as it's pushed away, as it's pushed out and leaves your body now. As you completely fill up with all that lovely calm and peace. Cool. And you find now, from this moment forward, every day you feel calmer, cooler, more peaceful, able to focus on the things that are important to you, the things that you want to focus on. Maybe it's growing your business. Maybe it's something else. Maybe there's a project you want to focus on. You find your focus increases now every day with that calmness, that peace, that coolness. As you keep breathing in that lovely cool air, breathing out any unwanted warmth, any tensions, any stresses, any worries at all, you just breathe it out. That's it. Just enjoy that space now for a moment or two. That's it. And as you begin to come back, feeling calm and peaceful, ready for the rest of the day and tomorrow, with a deeper sense of calm and peace, focus and coolness, you begin to come back to the here and now. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and feel fantastic. So that was just a small example, just a really tiny example of how we can help our clients using hypnosis. Now, oh, excuse me. With that example that we've just done, there wasn't really any clinical applications. It was just a pure relaxation, just giving those suggestions of peace and calm, because as we've talked about earlier, being calmer and more peaceful affects a lot of the symptoms that are experienced with this, especially the stress levels, which directly affect the symptoms that people experience. So we've learned some basic information on the menopause. We've learned a little bit about the role of estrogen and progesterone, the common symptoms, some of the 5 triggers, an example of hypnosis that you can use with your clients that we've just done. You know, the hypnosis that we do in the program focuses around some clinical applications disguised in a lot of metaphors and stories to help those clients, because when we use metaphors and stories, the subconscious engages just that bit more and that much better, and they really take it on board. So there are a lot of clinical applications involved in the scripts that are in the actual program itself, and it's very clearly laid down what it is you need to do with your clients, and when you need to do that with your clients. So if you would like to join Rebecca and myself on the 25th and the 26th of July for the training, either the 1-day training or 2 days training, we'd love to see you, either 1 day or 2 day. That would be absolutely fantastic. You can book your place now by clicking on the link in the chat box. So there's a link for just the menopause core if you decide that you would like to do just the 1 day, the first day, the core. If you would like to do that, there's a link there in the chat box for that. If you would like to do, if you've already done the core, because you need to have done the core before you can do the advanced. If you've already done the core, but you would like to do the advanced training, there's a link for that in the chat box too. If you would like to do both days, if you haven't done any of the training before and you would like to do both days, we would love to see you. There is a link for that, so you can do both training days back to back. That would be absolutely fantastic, and we would love to see you there. That'd be great. So thank you very much, everyone, for taking time out of your busy day today, because I appreciate that everybody is very busy, to spend with myself and Rebecca, who's been on the chat box. That'll be absolutely fantastic. And thank you so much for spending your time with you. I really, really hope that you have gained some useful information out of what we've been talking about today. So if you'd like to join Rebecca and myself on the 26th and the 26th of July, you can book your place now by clicking on the links in the chat box. The first link is for the core, the menopause core. That's the basic training. You need to have done that before you do the advanced. If you want to do just the advanced, you can click on that too. And if you want to do both days, there is another link for that too. We tried to make it simple, but we had so many options with this training. This was the most simplest we could make it for you. So don't forget to watch out in your inboxes and your junk mail for the 6 keys to success and the replay, which will be coming out probably tomorrow, but within the next 24 hours. So keep an eye out for that so that you can watch the replay if you would like to. And don't forget, your 6 keys, your bonus material, will be on that email as well. So keep an eye out in your junk boxes for that. Have an absolutely fantastic day. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. I will be staying on for a few minutes longer to answer any questions. If anybody has any questions, then please just pop your questions in the chat box, and I will answer them now for you, if I can. I'm sure I can, but I will answer them now. Thank you, Cherry. I'm pleased you found it very interesting. I hope you've got some useful information out of that, out of what we've been talking about today. Bianca, good to see you again. I hope you found it useful too. And Diane, really nice to see you too. Just gives me a chance to go back. No, I didn't actually enable the button for the cameras, I'm afraid. It was the first time I've set up an absolute proper webinar, as in opposed to a Zoom chat. There's a difference between the two. And I think that was the button that I actually didn't click. But I'm pleased that you could hear me, and I'm very pleased. Thank you very much for everybody for coming along. No questions have popped up in my box. I'll hang on for a few minutes longer in case there are some questions that pop up. Sometimes there's a bit of a time lag in when you put the questions into when they come up. Rebecca's done an outstanding job of managing the chat box and putting in the links for you if you would like to take part in the training. I think it's about 4 weekends. It's not this weekend, not next weekend, not the one after, it's the one after. It's one at the very end of the month for you to take part in if you would like to. Oh, Rebecca, you raised a hand. Hang on a second. Allowed to talk. Rebecca, unmute.
Hello.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Just also, Helen, they can attend, if they can't attend live, they can still book and pay and receive the training, can't they?
They can, absolutely. I'm pleased you brought that up. I seem to have forgotten that one, didn't I? Yes, it is all recorded. So if you can't attend, but you would still like to do the training, then you can still book and your training, and we will send you the replays because it's always recorded. So we'll send you all the stuff that you would have received if you were live on the day. And you can also let me know once you've done the training, and I will have organise a one-to-one video call with you to answer any questions that you might have as well. And that goes for both days. Is that your question answered, Rebecca?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Okay, any other questions? Let me see. Oh, excellent. Well done, Angela. Thank you very much for booking. I'm really looking forward to working with you. Looking forward to having you on the training. Last time we did a 2-week training. It was April, actually, the end of April. We had an absolutely outstanding 2 days training. We had people from literally across the globe. There was 7. I seem to think we were working between 6 and 7 different time zones all at the same time. And the group was absolutely amazing. There were a lot of friendships built over that weekend, a lot of connections made. So yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, and great to have you aboard as well, Bianca. We'll look forward to seeing you. I know you quite well now, and I think knowing that you're going to be there, it'll be an absolutely fantastic weekend too. Yeah, we did have a lot of fun, absolutely great weekend. And it was good because we had some people on both days. We had some people on the core training, we had some people on the advanced training, but yeah, it was absolutely lots and lots of fun. Yeah, lots and lots of discussion too, which is absolutely great because it's through discussion that we learn as well as practice. So we did manage to get a lot of practice in as well, which helps everybody to do, to learn, doesn't it? Even myself included. You always never stop learning is my motto. One of my mottos is never stop learning, because when you stop learning, you stop growing, don't you? Cool. So any more questions, any more comments in the chat box? So hopefully you've really enjoyed the training. Rebecca and I have enjoyed delivering the training with you. I have certainly enjoyed the training myself. Having a fantastic day. Do you know what, here in Wiltshire, my day is only just starting now. It's sort of 7:10 in the morning, and it looks like it's going to be a bit of a wet day here. I hope your day is a little sunnier where you are. Just because it's raining here doesn't mean today my day isn't going to be sunny. I will be looking after my granddaughter shortly, while her mum goes to care for some elderly people. So I will be spending some sunshine with my granddaughter this morning. So that will be absolutely great. It's always fun. Yeah, much appreciated, Rebecca, for all the work behind the scenes. Rebecca, you haven't seen much from Rebecca today, but I can sort of guarantee you that Rebecca has done a lot of behind the scenes work to make this happen and to help me with the training. So a very, very big thank you to Rebecca for all the work that she's done and all the work that I know she's going to do as well. All the stuff that we sort of got planned, and you know, all the conversations that we've had over quite a long time, you know, and all the fun that we've had along the way. We do actually digress quite easily. So yeah, thank you, a very big thank you, Rebecca, for everything that you've done and everything that I know that you're still going to do to help us with put the actual training on. So I'm going to love you and leave you all. Thank you very much for attending. If you want to book, you still have time to book. I'll put it out on the email that comes out for you. So if you haven't taken advantage yet and you want to, then you can. So have an absolutely fantastic day, everyone. Thank you very much for taking part and supporting us here this morning, especially if you were early morning. Thank you very much for getting up early, and have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon.